Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Welcome into Mailbag Monday. I'm Jay Zawaski with Mario Tirabassi. Let's send some thoughts and prayers Greg Boyson's way. He is moving, preparing to move, which is the worst thing in the world. Greg, we're sorry. We would help you, but we don't want to.
Yeah, we're adults. We're not going to help you. Hire someone.
Remember the days when you would move and you could just be like, hey, man, can you help me move? I'll buy you a beer and pizza. And people are like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not buying me a Tesla, I am not interested in helping you move. No shot.
I agree.
No, thank you.
Plus, I'm going to be useful for 5 minutes before I throw my back out.
Oh, I just carried pillows for the most part. That was my.
Couch
pillows. Couch pillows are pretty big.
I seriously, the other day, I was sitting in my bed, putting on my socks, and I pulled my sock up, and I felt my back tighten up. I'm 45. This is my life now.
Yeah.
This is it. This is what I have to look forward to, and it's only going to go downhill from here. So, Greg, Godspeed. I told my wife when we moved from Palos Heights to Homewood, I said, I hope you like this house because I'm never doing this again.
Never.
Never.
Yeah, that's what my wife and I said after we moved into our house. Is this like let's make this one last?
This is it. When we were moving, I know Greg has this too. He's able to move stuff from the old place to the new place ahead of time, so it's not like a one-day thing, which is nice.
Yeah.
We had the same thing, and I swear to God, when we would go from Palos Heights to Homewood, and we would come back, I'd be like, have people put stuff in our house since we left? Like, how does this stuff, we are not making a dent in anything here. It is so frustrating. I'm very glad that I don't have to do it anymore. And Greg, we're with you, man. We're with you in spirit. We will not help you physically, though. Very, very sorry.
And Mike says, I'll now buy a beer and pizza to not be asked.
Right. Yes, sir. Just every year, buy your friend beer and pizza and say, this is so you don't ask me to help you move. Exactly. Anyway, that's not why you're here. It is Mailbag Monday, so we are going to answer all of your Hawks and NHL-related queries. And as we said last night on the postgame show, if you missed it, shame on you, we're going to have a little added element of an Ask Me Anything sort of a thing going on in the chat. So
here goes.
If it's anything about life, about whatever, we will answer it in the chat today. So why don't we start, Lawrence? I'll let you kick the show off with one of our Discord or Twitter selections. If you'd like to tweet at us ever, it's at CHGO_Blackhawks. And if you're a CHGO diehard, you get access to our Discord, and you can write us there. So
I quickly want you to answer Charlie the Bacon Guy's question. Did it last through the first period, the bacon he gave you guys?
It did.
Yeah.
Yes.
It got to about midway through the second period.
Oh, man.
And then that was about it.
Mario ran into Charlie in the atrium yesterday, and midway through the first, Mario pulls out 2 greasy paper towels.
Amazing.
He's like, bacon.
Pocket bacon. Yeah.
Pocket bacon.
I mean, I saw that pic, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, it was eating Glennon Doyle's face on the on my photo. It just worked out that way. But I'm sure she would.
It was delicious. Jardiniere
bacon
and ranch bacon.
Yeah,
both were good.
Excellent stuff. Thank you, Charlie. Keep it coming.
I don't think we're going to answer the Steve's question.
Will you show feed is Greg's department.
Yeah, that's great. Exactly.
Yeah,
yes,
that's right.
So let's start with the question that was on the headline and everything about our guys we drafted last year. And this is from Matapuma, who says, if Korchinski and Nazar were in this year's draft class, where would they be picked? Gives the casual fan an idea of how deep this draft is.
I know you have a detailed answer about this.
I do.
So I don't know what it says.
Okay.
So I'm going to just off the top of my head spitball this. I feel like both of those guys would be in the 20s.
Okay. That was my thought as well when I saw the question. But last night, because I'm a sick individual, and apparently so is Chris Peters, at 12:50 a.m., I DM'd him on Twitter, and he responded. So I asked the very same question. His response was, so I had Nazar 7th in my final draft ranking and Korchinski 14th. I still think Korchinski would be one of the first defensemen off the board, so he probably goes in a range close to the top 10. Have to keep in mind that last year's defense draft was really, really good compared to this year. Nazar probably goes in a range similar to last year if I'm picking. There's a number of smaller skilled forwards in this draft, and the way he played last year, he's right up there with guys like Braden Yeager, who could go into top 15. So,
interesting.
Yeah, so top 10 for Korchinski, top 15 for Nazar, which is what? Korchinski was 7, Nazar was 14?
13.
13? Yeah, so
right in those same ranges. Hey, that's great.
That answer is very encouraging
because it's better than mine.
I love that question. That's a wonderful question. Thanks for asking it. And I'm glad that Chris was up so late last night to answer that directly. I know we'll talk to him before and after the draft. He's one of our favorite guys.
Yeah.
But to see that those two guys, because at first he said, well, are we factoring in how they've performed this year? And I said, no, I want you to do this based on how they were performing entering last year's draft. So I think that's really good stuff.
Yeah,
I love that.
I'm actually a little surprised that they're that high.
So am I.
Considering how deep this draft is and everything. It's
definitely.
I would have thought that Chris's estimation would have been late teens, around that range.
Yeah.
But hey, that's really encouraging to hear.
Yeah, definitely. So
and we've seen them play for a year after their draft, and so now it's like, well, yeah, of course.
And I think Korchinski, if we were factoring in this year, I bet Korchinski would go even higher.
Oh yeah, I would assume he'd be in the top 10.
Yeah,
for sure,
definitely. All right, good start. Very good start.
All right, this is from Michaela. If Jonathan Toews returns for the rest of this season, do you think he will retire after the summer if he doesn't feel well enough to play for another season?
Well, I mean, that's John Dietz's report, is that he is seriously considering retirement. So, I mean, yes, if he feels he's incapable of playing anymore, I think he's going to retire. I'm not questioning John Dietz's report. I think this is more a symptom of the Hawks being on the road for a really long time and not being able to like really get a lot of questions asked. But the story kind of came and went without a lot of follow-up. So I'm looking forward to, there's no practice today. From what Luke Richardson said, it doesn't sound like there's going to be practice Wednesday either. So the opportunity to ask those questions hasn't really presented itself yet. I'm very curious to see what the status is on that. Look, if Jonathan Toews, who has been skating recently, we wrote about it in our 3 Hawks hits last night, if he is able to return this season, he will certainly be made available to the media, and he'll have to answer that for himself. I'm not saying I hope he retires, but I will say this. I don't think the Hawks are going to resign him. I don't think they should, based on his health and what they're trying to do. So selfishly, I would like him to retire because as I've been thinking about it, I don't want to see him in another team's jersey. Yeah. It's painful enough with Patrick Kane.
It's weird.
I don't want to see Jonathan Toews in another jersey. It just doesn't, to me, of all the dynasty players, he's the one that shouldn't be on another team.
Yeah,
captain.
I would echo that. It would be weird. I just want him to listen to his body and be as healthy as possible. To the question, if he's not feeling healthy through the summer, does he retire? That's something that I wonder if he considers, because he is still a very competitive person,
right? And
I wonder if he just says, you know what, my deal's over with the Blackhawks. I'm just going to take this season off and maybe give his body that rest, give his body that time to kind of recover, and maybe he goes into 24, 25 as like, hey, I want to come back, 1-year deal with a cup contender, maybe, I don't know. But I wonder if maybe that's something he does, if he doesn't just outright say he's retiring. But bottom line, I just want him to either feel healthy enough to come back at the end of this season and get a proper send-off.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
Or just listen to his body and do what it needs to do to feel optimal. And yeah, it would be tough to see him play for another team, but it also would be tough to see him be like, I'm going to come back for one more year. And he comes back and he is even more of a shell of his former self, because that would also be hard to see, because then it's just like it's just even more visible of like he's physically not capable of what he used to be.
It's an interesting concept you present, and I've also thought of this too, of like some team, of him taking a year off or whatever, and then coming back. Like not David Krejci didn't take a year off, but he went to Europe and then came back and signed a 1-year deal with the Bruins.
Hjalmarsson retired.
Correct. Yeah, you're right.
A season or maybe 2. Yeah. And then came back and it was playing in Sweden this year.
Yeah, so Taves will be 35 on April 29th, which means if he takes a year off, he's going to be 30. He'll be 37 that season.
36, 37.
Yeah. So we'll turn 37 that next season. I don't know. Like, does a team look at that and say, maybe Taves is like, I'll take $1 million.
Yeah.
Take a chance on me. I think that would be tempting to a lot of contenders, even if it was sort of like a mid-season ad or like a late-season ad. I don't know. That's interesting. I don't want to see him play for another team. But that's just me. If Jonathan Taves wants to keep playing, by all means, he should. I don't know. I think that's a tough sell for teams, especially like maybe if he had he not missed another season, or 2 years ago, and not missed a big chunk of this season, I think that might be a little more realistic. Like if he just is like, I'm going to take a year off, get my body right, and then come back.
Yeah.
I think with everything added up, I don't know how interested teams would be in that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. I'm not saying no. I just don't know the answer.
I mean, I'm sure there would be some team that would say like, we'll give you $1 million or whatever to take a chance on maybe having a at that point, maybe a third or fourth line center with the career resume that he has and the kind of person he can be as a presence in a locker room. But yeah, it would be weird to see what the market would be for him at that point, if there would be one. So again, I just say like I just want him to be able to be healthy. So that's the most important part.
Yeah, agreed. Region Rev says effects from COVID don't get better. Add that to his immune system, and he would do better to protect himself more. That's the thing with long COVID is, I know a couple people going through it, and Region Rev's right. It has not really gotten better for them. They've learned how to manage it. They've found therapeutics for it and things to kind of ease it, but so far it hasn't gone away. And it's something that they've dealt with. Like I have a buddy who got COVID like pre-vaccine, like around I think it was Thanksgiving of whatever. I don't even know what year it was when COVID started anymore. 2020, yeah. And he still just like doesn't feel right. He can't stand for extended periods of time. He runs out of gas really fast. And that's he says it's about the same from when he quote recovered from COVID to now. There hasn't really been much of an improvement. So look, Jonathan Taves has different resources than my buddy. Of course, but he's got more money than my buddy. He's got an entire hockey team behind him to help him. But
I mean, if your body is not responding, it's all the same,
right?
But
yeah,
we'll see.
It sucks.
It's tough.
I just that's what bums me out about the Taves thing the most is like, it's one thing for a guy to say, I've played it. I feel great about my career, and it's just time for me to hang him up. I have nothing left to prove. It's just brutal that he could potentially be forced out of playing the game he loves and the game he's so good at. It's sad.
It's not the ending that he would deserve.
Yeah, and I think you said it the other night. Like when you look at the Hawks that have left, like Hossa not on his own terms. Seabrook gets traded. Keith gets traded. Crawford, goes to New Jersey and then doesn't. There hasn't been like a really storybook ending for any of these guys, and it sucks. It's sad. It's really sad. So. Let's just hope that Taves can get good enough to come back and play for the last few games this season, or maybe even the last game, so the United Center fans can let him know how they feel about him.
Proper send off.
Yep,
absolutely.
All right, gentlemen, let's keep moving on in the mailbag. This is from JB. Love the podcast, guys. Thank you, JB. Hoping to hear your thoughts on Kane's first month as a Ranger on today's episode.
What number is he?
Patrick Kane?
Yeah, on the
88.
On the Rangers. Okay.
Yep. That's him.
Let's see.
He's got 4 goals and 4 assists in 12 games. He's shooting 12.1%, up from his 8.8 with the Hawks this year. I think he's being very Patrick Kane-y.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing. He is not leaned on as much as he was here to provide scoring. But after a tough start in a huge market, in a very jarring trade, feels like he's sort of picked up where everyone expected him to pick up. And I think the reason you trade for Patrick Kane is you hope that he becomes playoff Patrick Kane again.
Yeah.
And becomes Showtime and delivers in those huge moments as he always seems to do. And if that happens for the Rangers, they're going to be very, very content with their Patrick Kane trade.
Yeah, I think he got off to a slow start, but it's kind of understandable given that he's in a completely new place, new teammates, just a different situation that he's never gone through before with, having to be traded and move and all that. But, he gets to fit into a roster in which he's not the sole focus anymore. So that probably is beneficial to him. And yeah, I mean, 8 points in 12 games. Totally fine. We've seen him score a few pretty nice goals, set up a few pretty nice goals. So it continues to be Patrick Kane at this point in his career. And it was funny. It was the whole Kane to the Rangers. Really, the biggest steam behind that was, well, he was really good friends and buddies with Panarin, so he'll want to go play with Panarin again. And like 3 games into him being in New York, they split those two up. There, it's like, yeah, it's not working. So. So that's a little funny, but yeah, I mean, I know Greg will hate it if the Rangers go far into the playoffs, but it would be interesting to see how far Kane can go with them.
Yeah, it's funny. You would imagine Kane, Panarin, and Zibanejad just seems so perfect, and now he's with Kreider and Trocheck.
Hey, things
but
change.
It's like similar when he played with Taves and Hossa or Sharp or whoever. It's different types of players.
Yeah,
you
have to match up the right kinds of guys. And hey, look, like he made Artem Anisimov look like a very competent NHL center for a while there. So it's sometimes it's not necessarily that you have to have all your best players all play together. It just kind of goes to show how much it is just having the right guys in the right spots.
Do we have any AMA questions before we get to our first spot break here?
We do. Let me throw one of those up there for us. Let's see. I've been doing some favoriting of these. Here, this is from Mike. What are your thoughts on the Yoo-Hoo drink? Please rate it in a tier S-F, lol.
I don't know what S-F is.
I don't either, and I was hoping one of you would.
In a tier S to F.
I mean,
I don't know.
How about A to F?
Pass, fail.
I'm a big fan of all chocolate drinks.
It could have been A to F as
maybe S is right there. That makes sense.
All right,
we'll go A to F.
Yoo-Hoo, the chocolate drink.
I'll give it a B plus.
Chocolate drink.
Here, I'm gonna go ahead and change that for him.
Man, it's been a while since I've had a Yoo-Hoo, but I used to frequent them in high school, and they were good. So I will give it a solid B plus.
Nothing like high school having like a Yoo-Hoo with like Cheetos.
Oh yeah, the best fuel to get you through third period math.
You'd have the milk mustache and the Cheeto teeth and fingers. Yeah, it's just very appealing to the ladies.
Perfect.
Back in the day, yeah, I like Yoo-Hoo a lot. I went through a couple months ago like a big chocolate milk kick. I don't know. I just like.
See, I've actually never had Yoo-Hoo.
Really?
I was always a Nestle Quick chocolate milk guy myself.
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's good,
but Yoo-Hoo's not chocolate milk. It's a chocolate drink.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I didn't want it.
It is good. I will. So I think there's a lot of places that have, a lot of companies that have changed their formula. Like I think Twinkies are different from when they were when I was a kid. Like they stopped using trans fats and so it's just like not as moist as it used to be. I wonder if Yoo-Hoo also tried to take some of the dangerous chemicals out that made it so delicious. I've not had one in a while. I'll do one for research. For double podcast crossover research with the I'm Fat podcast.
That works.
I will down a Yoo-Hoo this week and report back.
Perfect.
But I'm down.
All right.
I'm down.
Do you want to do another one of these?
Sure, and then we'll take a break.
All right. Let's see. This is from Nate. How do you like Murder by Death's most recent album?
Oh,
Jay.
Thank you, Nate. That's a great question.
Sorry,
I contend that if there was a band put on Earth exclusively for me, it would be Murder by Death. They're my favorite band. They are amazing, and they're not like metal like they sound. They're like, if you imagine like Johnny Cash meets Jason Isbell meets, like, it's a lot of like gothic country, like gothic alt country. They're great. Murder by Death is awesome, and I love their new record.
There we go. There's the answer.
Thank you. That's a good AMA. I like that.
Can't
Anytime you get me talking about music.
Oh, I've heard of them. I don't know if
I've heard the name. I have not heard their new album per the question.
Nah, they're great.
Nate says you got me hooked on them, Jay. So
awesome. Nice.
Thank you, my friend. I love that. I love when that happens. Appreciate that. You know what else is great? Everyone?
Yoo-hoo.
Yes. And Fubo TV.
Yes,
I'm not kidding. Had a trial of it because I knew we were going to start a partnership with Fubo. And 3 days in to said trial, I canceled my cable and joined Fubo permanently. You can do the same, FuboTV.com/CHGO, or scan that QR code on your YouTube screen right now. Here's the deal. A lot of people are looking to cut the cord, but because of the options on the streaming services, it becomes difficult. Well, guess what? If you're a Cub fan, Fubo is the only place you can stream Marquee Sports Network for the entire Cubs season coming up. They've got NBC Sports Chicago, NBC Plus, all the things you need to watch the Blackhawks, to watch the Cubs, all the Chicago local teams, 140 plus live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. You can stream from any device. So my laptop here, I've streamed it. I can do it from my phone when I'm in the bathroom, whatever. Anywhere I want to watch Fubo TV, I can do it simply by logging in. It's great. You can start watching immediately with a 7-day free trial. There is no contract. There is no cable. There is no hassle. Just sign up and start watching. You get 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. And again, watch your local teams while traveling. So if you're out of the state, you can still watch the Hawks. You can still watch the Cubs because your Fubo subscription is based in Chicago. It is great. College hockey is happening now. The Frozen Four. You've got, that's April 6th through 8th. It's ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPNU. Watch it. It's great. It's incredible. There's a question. Are the Hawks blacked out? They are not blacked out on Fubo TV. It's great. I've watched every game since I've joined it. I usually go back on DVR and watch the game again for some reason because I'm a sick individual. Very easy to do on Fubo TV. So jump in, FuboTV.com/CHGO. Again, I became a customer after a 3-day trial. I'm like, yep, this is great. I'm in. I use it on my Apple TV. It works on your Fire Stick, your Roku stick, any streaming device. Hook it into your HDMI slot there, and you are good to go with Fubo TV. Check it out.
Yeah, and scan the QR code there on our screen.
Yep.
I tried to, but I'm too far away. Hey, do you like saving money? Do you like saving energy?
Yes.
Do you like having a brightly lit home or apartment?
Usually.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Facility or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Well then, hey, ComEd has got the energy efficiency program for you. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities they serve manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future. ComEd offers a wide array of other incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across their territories. Customers can inquire about how to upgrade outdated lighting to energy and money-saving efficient LED lights. Need to do that. I have a couple lights in my basement that went out the last week. Got to get on that. You can learn more about lighting networks about network lighting to operate your lights through your mobile device and track your facility's energy usage and more. Incentives have recently increased for indoor, outdoor lighting and network lighting controls, making these projects even more cost-effective than before. So be sure to visit them at comed.com/poweringbiz right now to start saving money and energy.
Yeah.
Are you guys a cool white or a warm white? In your
I like
lights?
the warm. Like the yellowish, right?
Yes.
A little more natural.
Yes.
I'm into that.
I like a bright light.
So you like that cool blue, almost like you're in an office, even though it's just a light bulb?
No, I like.
Oh,
these,
how would
like
you
these
describe
lights.
this?
Like these lights. I like this lighting.
Yeah, these are pretty, I guess, middle of the road. But
I like the opposite of this.
Like those, are, like I'd say the ones.
You like the ones that are in our conference room.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like a nice yellow tint to my lights.
as opposed to that one, which is much cooler and like.
Yeah.
I like
But
the,
like
I
you
like
go
the
to
more
someone's
whiter
house
ones.
and like, or like you're walking by someone's house and you see the that like bright. It's almost like the old tube lighting. You're like, what are you doing, man? That's your kitchen. Why are you living like that?
Yeah.
Anyways,
you got to see what you're doing.
When you look like me, the less light, the better. That's what I say. I think everyone would agree. Ask my wife.
Wow.
She'd probably agree with that.
Okay, well, should we get back to Mailbag Monday?
Sure. Any more AMAs? Any more AMAs you want me to tackle?
There's a bunch that are coming in.
We do have
here.
AMAs. Let's just do some more. We got a couple more.
Let's get back to the old Puckaroo. Yeah.
Hawks hockey ones.
And this is another Kane-related one. I know we've kind of been asked this one before. This is from Gary Ross.
All right, Gary, you owe us $1.
Any chance of re-signing the DeBrincat or Kane in offseason to bolster the rebuild? No,
yes, there's a chance. It's not going to happen.
It's not it's not 0. But it's not much more than 1. I'll say that.
Look, if you're Kyle Davidson, which one of those makes the most sense? I guess DeBrincat makes the most sense.
Yeah.
He's still young. He's got years of hockey. Bringing Patrick Kane back makes 0 sense for this team. All that would do is make you slightly better. All it would do is be a PR move to sell tickets, to make fans feel warm and fuzzy. It doesn't really move the needle at all hockey-wise. If anything, it prevents your next leadership group from jumping in and taking over. So I do not want Patrick Kane back.
And let's say with all the injury stuff that he is dealing with, whatever severity it is, let's say he goes all out through this postseason run with the Rangers. Let's say they get to the Eastern Conference Final or further. And he guts it out through whatever's ailing him. Then in the offseason, he has to have some sort of cleanup surgery or whatever. Do you know what Patrick Kane you're getting if you go back and re-sign him? You don't really know. And I think that would be a risk. And yeah, I don't think it really does anything other than make sure that your back stock of 88 Kane jerseys gets sold next season before Adidas loses the jersey licensing rights. You know, it would make more sense to have DeBrincat come back, but again, do not hold your breath that either of those players come back.
Yeah,
and what's the incentive for them to come back? To come back and play for the team? Like, play for a team that they both had really good success with. Kane's legacy is with the Blackhawks, but you're gonna come back to the guy who traded you? Like, I don't think you would.
I think guys are happy to continue their careers elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's. I don't know. I know that's like the fan dream is they come back and you get the trade and everybody's happy, but it just so rarely happens. And Region Rev says Domi needs to come back. If there's someone that's going to come back, it seems like Max Domi might be the guy.
Sure.
Because he wants a top role. He probably wouldn't get that top role elsewhere. Whereas Kane and DeBrincat will get a top role elsewhere. Those guys are going to be top line players wherever they play. Whereas Max Domi is going to be a third or a fourth, not a fourth liner, but a second or third liner, pretty much wherever else he goes. So it makes sense for Domi to come back, be a leader, be a top scorer, be your number one center. And he seems willing and able to be part of this thing as they rebuild. He was a great fit in the locker room this year.
I wonder if any other teams are looking at him and being like, hey, maybe he could be our number two center, rather than coming back to Chicago for a team that's probably not going to contend for anything next year.
Look, if people are paying attention to Max Domi's season, then I think the answer to that is absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he's got this reputation.
Yeah, he does.
And I think that just sort of happens naturally when guys don't really stick anywhere. You're kind of like, well, how come this guy? I think the reason Max Domi doesn't stick is because he's good but not great. He's not super expensive, but he's also, if a contender's looking to add a salary, maybe it's a little more than they are able to take. So he's kind of like a tweener in that way.
He's one of these players that like teams just can't find the reason to invest in. Like,
that's a good way to put it.
Dylan Strome had the same problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until he got to Washington. And so I wonder what the problem is, because he's been, when you got a lot of things in hockey and in the NHL is guys playing with the right players under the right leadership and in the right situations. And Domi came to Chicago, signed as a free agent because Luke Richardson was made the head coach, and Domi's probably best 2 seasons came when he played in Montreal, where Richardson was an assistant coach. So I don't know how much direct impact it has, but it's probably means more than is led on. So I think that could be a factor in him if he wants to come back. That, he's played well under Richardson before, played well with him this year. Like, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Max Domi, I've played my best with this coach, so I'm going to go. If they want me back, I'm going to go to him. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. You could tie that to any career, right? Like yeah. if your boss moves on somewhere and then wants you back, you're going to listen. If it's a boss you liked and worked well for and worked well with, and they give you a call and say, "Hey, you interested in moving over here with me?" Hell yeah, you consider that, right? I mean, comfort has value, and I think Max Domi felt very comfortable here. The fans really kind of fell in love with him in short order. Like, I saw some Max Domi jerseys around the United Center.
There's Domi jerseys when they interview the kids after the relay race a few times this year. Some kid was just like, "My favorite Hawk is Max Domi," and I was like, "Interesting choice, but hey, go for it."
Look, he's the kind of player that Hawks fans love.
Yeah,
he's exciting. He can score. He's fast. He's physical. He'll drop the gloves every now and again. He is entertaining as hell.
Yeah,
and Chicago fans love players like that. He's a really good fit here. So if we're going to see somebody come back, that's the one I would bet is going to come back. And I saw somebody in the chat mention Gustav Forsling as kind of an, maybe a side chance of coming back. I don't think this current GM is going to do the old GM thing where he just brings back names he's familiar with.
Yeah, no. And look, Forsling's really carved out a nice career for himself. So
yes, he has.
Good for him. But yeah, I would be shocked if he was coming around anytime soon.
Yep. All right, what else we got, Law?
Okay, we're back to Mailbag Monday, and our next one is from Yaroslav Sissy Spacek, who is a realistic prospect you see the Hawks taking with Tampa's first-round pick. Let's say hypothetically becomes the 24th pick. In my opinion, to bolster our forward depth, we need a right wing. Familiarize yourself with Matthew Wood if you haven't heard of him.
So Yaroslav Sissy Spacek has been reading the rebuild report.
Nice. Thank you.
Nicely done.
Nice.
Where can you read that, by the way, Mario?
You can read it on allchgo.com and make sure you become a diehard and get access to the rebuild report and all of the other tremendous written content that we have on allchgo.com. Plus all of the
20% off the beautiful,
all the other benefits. 20% off of everything at the CHGO locker. Discounted event prices and all the other special offers that come with being a diehard.
You can ask
Discord
these
chat
questions in there.
Where you can ask us all of our random questions about our music and movie and food tastes and anything in between. What else we got? We did the Die Hard Happy Hour. We did that a few weeks ago. That was a good time.
Yeah, Bears are doing one tomorrow night.
Bears are doing one tomorrow night.
Oh, nice.
Should be interesting.
It's going to be a good time. So yeah, become a diehard, do all that. Matthew Wood, he's a really good player, playing at, I believe he's at UConn this year. Got a great shot. He's definitely somebody that's going to be in that mid to early 20s range. One of the hindrances to his game from a couple of scouting reports is that his skating's not great, but that's always something that, you hear some guys say, "Oh, their skating's not great." Well, sure, but these guys are 18 years old. Like, a lot of physical development still happens. So, their skating stride with working with professional coaches, working with NHL teams on that can be tweaked a little bit. For me, when I'm looking at prospects, this is just for me. If I'm seeing things that are like, their decision-making skills are not that great, or their, the terms hockey sense or their vision are not great. That's when I get a little bit concerned.
Yeah.
Because some players are not the most skilled, but they know where to be. They know what's going to happen. They know how to think the game, and they can get further than their skill set based on what they have between the years. And there's guys that are super talented that cannot think the game well. And they're just straight line. This is all I know I can do, and they get handcuffed. So, he's got a great shot. If his skating's not that great, a lot of guys have made a great career out of shooting really well, but not being able to do much more than that. One guy I do like, and he is climbing up the boards, but still is probably going to be in that mid-20s range, early 20s range, is a teammate of Frank Nazar and Adam Fantilli's, Gavin Brindley. He is a tough player. He's a little undersized, but he's got a lot of skill, a lot of speed, a lot of energy in his game. He's definitely somebody that I think the Blackhawks should also be taking a look at, and I'm sure have had a lot of eyes on if they've been scouting Fantilli and also checking in on Nazar. He's a good player, and you're going to see him in the Frozen Four with Michigan.
There you go. I'm looking at the Sporting News and their mock draft, and they have the Blackhawks selecting Daniil Butt from Loko Yaroslavl. And now I will not accept anyone other than Daniil Butt to be on this team. So we have jokes to make for the next decade.
Sure.
So give me Butt, please.
You could get him.
It's only one T.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Who was the guy in Michigan? The
Jake Butt.
Jake Butt, yeah. Yes. The tight end.
Yes.
I believe he has a good Twitter handle. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Is it like at butt stuff or something?
It's definitely a pun, and I just can't remember what it is.
Is it Matthew Tkachuk or Brady Tkachuk? Whereas Kentucky Cheese is their handle.
Oh,
I think it's
I don't
Matthew
know.
Tkachuk.
Is it Matthew? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, another reason I love that guy.
That's a good one.
All right, we got another question here from the bacon slinger himself, Charlie the Bacon Guy. He says, out of the final 18 points the Hawks can get, how many do you think they'll get realistically? I predict 6 more points, 2-5-2 to finish the year. That seems about right.
Yeah. Let's pull up the old schedule.
That seems about right.
Let's win-loss this thing. All right.
By the way, it's Jay Booty 88 if you'd like to call it
Jay Booty.
Hey,
that's a good
if
one.
you have a name like Butt, you just have to lean in.
Absolutely.
You can't get offended about it. Just play with it.
You have to bend over a little bit when you're leaning in?
You got to be flexible.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Definitely. How many points did the Blackhawks get in their last 9 games?
Okay.
Tomorrow, Dallas.
Loss.
Thursday, St. Louis.
Overtime loss.
Okay, so that's 1 point.
Yep.
Saturday, New Jersey.
Loss.
Then on the road in Calgary.
Win. Calgary's a disaster.
Ooh, okay. On the road in Vancouver, who they just lost to last night.
Win.
Okay. On the road in Seattle.
Loss.
All right. Home against Minnesota.
Loss.
The next night on the road against Pittsburgh.
Loss.
And then season finale at home against Philly.
I think an overtime loss would be very fitting of the season. So that's I have
you have 6 points.
6 points.
That's I won't disagree with that. 6 points sounds about right over the last 9 games.
They're going to get one that they shouldn't win.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
I would say.
I think it's Calgary. Calgary.
Maybe St. Louis.
Is Daryl Sutter going to get fired?
No. Why would he?
That's a team with some expectations, man.
Well, hey,
big expectations.
When you move out 2 of your big point producers.
Yeah, but they brought in Kadri and Huberdeau and Weegar.
Yeah,
I mean
I'm not disagreeing.
You could argue the roster is better.
Yeah, but I mean, it's tough to replace those kinds of guys, and when you have subpar goaltending,
Markstrom's not been.
How much are you laying that on the coach? I don't know. I don't think he gets fired, and I think Calgary they got to figure something out. I don't envision them running it all back next year, but I don't know how much movement they can make.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I don't know that the Huberdeau thing kind of comes into like we were talking about with Domi. It's like a fit thing.
Yeah,
Sutter just does not seem to be a fan. And I guess you can understand when the guy is replacing is Matthew Tkachuk,
right?
Who is every coach's dream, especially somebody like Daryl Sutter.
Seems like it.
Like an old guard, kind of like one of the last of that old guard kind of coach. Tkachuk is exactly what those kind of guys. And look, who wouldn't love a 97-point power forward? Like the guy's awesome. Crazy that he is arguably as good or better than his father. It's amazing. I love Matthew Tkachuk. That's if I could have any player in the league on the Blackhawks, that's the dude.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. We got how many more
this
from
is
the
last
mailbag?
of the mailbag questions.
All right, then we'll
from
get into
Tom.
some fun.
Tom Quinn, he says, what do you think the future of NBC Sports Chicago is? The NBC Sports Washington was just sold, so I'm guessing NBC is getting out of the RSN business. That, of course, for those of you not in the know, it's the regional sports network business.
Yeah.
There's
that deal's up
TV.
this year, right?
next year, right?
I think it's
October of 23 or 24.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's soon. This is where I wonder if, because the Hawks and Reinsdorf have always kind of worked together.
Yeah.
You know, be it Sports Channel or Comcast Sports Center or whatever. I wonder if this is a situation where the Hawks could maybe get in bed with Marquee.
Maybe.
So Marquee has fall and winter programming. There's very little overlap. I'm sure they can make a Marquee 2 to have, you know what I mean? So if the Hawks and Cubs play on the same day, they've got another channel to play on. I don't know. I think what's going to happen is maybe they go to Stadium. That's Reinsdorf owned, right? Or he's an investor.
I don't know if Reinsdorf still has anything to do with that.
I don't know. You guys know better than me.
I don't think he does. Uncle Jerry, I don't think he was.
I
don't think he was paying our checks. I mean, they got sold to Bally.
Yeah.
Which of course that's that nightmare scenario.
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the route there.
Maybe they just develop some kind of new regional sports network.
I mean, what if they go the route of Marquee, but it's just a Blackhawks, White Sox, Bulls access?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that could be,
which would be dumb.
You know,
but like
the Madhouse channel or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
They could do something like that. I don't know. The answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind seeing the Hawks on Marquee. I know it would piss a lot of people off because Marquee's hard to find unless you have Fubo.
Hey now.
Hey, there you go.
See.
But yeah, I mean, it would help. It would help Marquee, like you said, with their programming.
They've got to
stretch things out a little bit more.
That's Marquee. As an aside, they got to get their shit together. It is inexcusable that they're only on 2 providers. That's not acceptable. Like, they've got to make deals with the other streaming services. They've got to, I don't know. And the other problem too is Major League Baseball has no clue how to handle their streaming. They have no clue. It is so archaic. It's so out of date. I was in Nashville.
Sounds perfect for the NHL.
Yeah, seriously. I was in Nashville, and the Cubs were playing the Braves, and I was blacked out on MLB TV.
I know. Their blackout rules are the dumbest.
It's like, what?
They're the dumbest.
I know that Nashville and Atlanta are close.
They're about as close as Chicago and Nashville.
It's like, what the hell?
Yeah,
like, why am I blacked out? Which part of it am I blacked out from?
Yeah,
that's weird.
I've heard so many tales of people
it's
being
stupid.
like, I'm in City A and I'm blacked out for this team, this team, this team. And it's like,
people
what?
in Iowa can't watch the Cubs.
Yeah,
who are they supposed to watch?
I know. Like, yeah, why? Like,
Yeah.
why do you not want people to watch your product? What is wrong with you?
weird.
Idiots.
Look, it should be I know the NFL is different, so put that aside. It's 1 game a week, fine. But like the NBA, it's never hard to find a Bulls game or an NBA game at all times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't get it.
Well, and their scheduling is the same format as the NHL, so I don't know. It should be easier to figure out, but
yeah. Dale Shytown says, as a Hawks and Sox fan, Marquee would blow unless Marquee goes back to another provider. Sure. It's not going to matter that the Cubs own the channel you're watching, like, because you're a Sox fan. You could still, it's okay. You're not going to catch anything watching Marquee Sports Network. You know what I mean? But, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I've been thinking about that a lot, and maybe there's somebody we can, pick the brains of somebody at the organization about that if we get the chance to talk to them again. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I want to clear something up. Last night, we played the post game from Luke Richardson that the team had sent out, and the Jonathan Taves response was not on the front of that.
Yeah.
I was told that was a technical issue, not a intentional exclusion. So
I figured
at the time we said that was probably the situation. Now we know for sure that was a situation. Sure. It was a technical issue. So there you go. Wanted to make sure I got that in there.
Hey, maybe CHGO Sports will get into the
live game business.
Live game business.
Oh, you guys want to start calling Hawks games? That'd
sure,
be fun.
I'll do it.
Let's go.
What was it?
Chris Foster's has been on the show before.
Yeah.
We could trio it with him.
Was it Major League 2 fly ball?
Yeah,
caught. That'll be us. The problem is whenever I do like there have been times I've been playing like NHL or whatever, and I'm home alone, and I try to do like commentary. I just do a Pat Foley impression. Yeah. I don't even do it on purpose. But I've just heard it so often that I can't do anything else.
Yeah. There was a time when I was in college and we were doing it was one of my broadcasting classes. I can't remember the exact one, but the instructor was like, "Hey, we're going to do an exercise in sports broadcasting." They were like, "Call a home run ball." And I was like, "Okay." And they were like, "But you can't do it like Bob Uecker, or you can't do it like, anyone that does it. You have to make it your own on the spot." And I was like,
yeah, it's
what?
Hard. Yeah,
like,
it's really
you're
tough.
Like, hi!
Yeah, I was just like,
holy cow! No,
like,
Mario,
wow, what a bomb! Like it was like, oh yeah, that's right. Like if you like just imitate somebody, you're not gonna go. You can't. Right. You're not gonna be unique. So interesting.
I think baseball commentary is cool. I love listening. Region Rev says she prefers listening to games on her transistor. To me, baseball on a radio is great.
Yeah,
I love baseball on a radio. It's like your my buddy Matt Spiegel calls it your summer companion.
Yeah,
you can just kind of put it on in the background, do whatever you're doing with the game on. It's great. And when the Hawks were on TV. Yeah, I listen to every home game on the radio.
Oh my gosh, I remember playoff games like driving to someone's house.
Yeah.
And just waiting outside while like the game was still on, and I believe Joe Murphy had something to do with it.
I remember really late. I think it was a double, triple overtime game against the Calgary Flames, and I was up so late I got in so much trouble. But I jumped and I punched the ceiling in the Hawks won the game, and I punched the ceiling in my basement.
Let's go.
And that's how I woke my parents up at like 1:30 in the morning, and I got in huge trouble. But
boy,
it was worth it.
Take that, Lanny McDonald.
Yeah. It wasn't that low. I'm not that old. Jesus.
Oh, what?
It was like the Theo Fleury Flames.
Okay, sorry. My first Blackhawks game was facing the Flames again, and Lanny McDonald. It was amazing.
Yeah,
and
I remember my first game. Oh, I'm bad at that.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna come on cam and tell the story. Why not?
Oh, here we go. Story time. Want to put like a little fireplace graphic behind you, or
no?
Look at that shirt, by the way.
Good shirt.
That's a nice looking shirt.
So my first Hawks game, which is what made me love hockey the most, my dad somehow got tickets through a client or whatever. We're on the glass at the old stadium, in the corner, so we're like the perfect seats. And this is the 80s. We got Butthead and McMahon are sitting like 10 rows back to the right. That was pretty cool. We had better seats than them. And I remember in warm-ups, like I said, Lanny McDonald, his giant mustache is like coming right by the glass in front of us. That was really cool to see. I was like, whoa, look at that thing. A puck came over the glass, and my brother got it. He never shared it with me. That was too bad, but that's fine. He was older. And then during the game, like two partitions over of the glass, there was a huge check, and the glass comes out, cuts a guy above the eye in like the second row, and I am just hooked. I'm like, this is amazing. So that was my first
This happens every game.
And I've never sat anywhere near that close ever.
That's funny. Like
20 rows maybe. But.
So my wife and I started dating because of the Hawks. Like we were set up because graduated college in January of 2001. I did because that double major I needed, so I went an extra semester. And so we got set up because we were both Hawks fans. And that's what she said. Like her first game, maybe it wasn't her first game, but she had a game where she was really close. Her dad got tickets through work or whatever. And there was a fight, and one of the guy's legs broke. And it was just absolute chaos. And she's like, hell yes, this is awesome. This is awesome. And I remember like one of my first Hawks games at the stadium, my uncle took me. And the Hawks scored, and they had the chairs like bloop, they like pop up when you get off them, and then they come back down. So I sat down, and for whatever reason, I put my hand like under the seat, and it literally cut off my fingernail. So I was like gushing blood, and he's like, "You don't want to leave, do you?" I'm like, "Hell no, we're not leaving." And it was like, I'm like bleeding out during the game, but it was awesome. Like, awesome. And the thing about the stadium too was, at the time, there was this like element of danger to going there, to being there. Like this neighborhood, in the days of the stadium, a rolling stop was risky. Like you just had to like kind of just, if it's safe, you go. You do not slow down. This neighborhood was really, really dangerous back then. And so like you get out of your car, you got to walk a bit of a way. and there were always characters to see. And then you get in Chicago Stadium, and it's old, and it smells like beer and urine, and there's drunk people, and people are fighting, and there's like a haze in the air. It just had this. It was a different element back in the Chicago Stadium. It was just, and as a kid, that place was larger than life. It was loud as hell. That Stadium Oregon was just blasting loud. It is like an experience for all the senses. Yeah. And you walk in there, like from the minute you arrive, get off the highway, there was this heightened sense of, I don't want to say anxiety, but like excitement. Like we're going, like I'm in the city, there's the Sears Tower. Yeah. Here comes the stadium. There's all these people. It just had this feel to it that cannot be replicated. It was just such a cool place to be. And I know you ever get to go? You never went to the stadium, right?
No,
yeah.
No.
Man, my memories of that place are vague, but I'm very lucky I got to go to Chicago Stadium and Comiskey Park, the original Comiskey Park, and it's just different. Those old parks are different.
I remember my other memory, like it's very fuzzy, is during the Gulf War year. It wasn't, the All-Star game.
I was at that All-Star game.
So that of course the anthem gets all the pub as being amazing. I was at one game within 2 weeks of that. It was them versus the Bruins, and I just remember it was so loud and amazing. And also the Blackhawks, it was their first win against the Bruins in like a long time. I don't know. I just remember they broke some long streak.
Yeah.
It was a 2-1 win. I remember that distinctly. So, yeah. Nice. Don't remember much, but I remember cheering during the anthem. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, very fun.
Yeah, that's one thing I wish I could have experienced with Chicago Stadium.
Yeah, it's so hard to describe. It was a charming dump.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like it just, I don't know, the place was so cool.
I still wish I got to see Pearl Jam there. I did not. I remember that Pearl Jam show in like 93 or something. And they played there, and I was like, I tried to get tickets, couldn't get them. Stupid old Ticketmaster. Bastards. Anyways.
Pearl Jam's been around that long. That's crazy.
Yeah, they really have.
Longer than that.
So you want to do the quick more little ads reads, and then we'll do the AMA?
Talk about golf?
Sure.
For a second?
Yeah, golf it up.
What you look like.
It looks like today, potentially.
Temperatures are rising. There's definitely people out there that would hit the links today. I mean, with the sunshine, it makes you feel pretty good. You know what else makes you feel pretty good is when you look good on the golf course. And Pins and Aces can help make you look good on the golf course with their amazing apparel. Pins and Aces is the official golf apparel partner of All City and CHGO. They make amazing polos, hats, golf bags that can be customized, and the beer sleeve, the product that allows you to store up to 7 beers right inside of your bag and keep them cold the entire round. They can be beers. Our lovely Goose Island beers would be a terrific choice.
Beefs.
They could be sodas, sparkling waters, regular waters, juice. Anything else come in a can?
Dipped beefs.
They could be dipped beefs as well. If you want to keep them warm, I bet the insulation in the sleeve does the same.
It would work.
You can check out pinsandaces.com for all of your sleeve and apparel needs. And when you do, use the promo code CHGO. You're going to get 15% off of your first order and get free shipping. Again, that's the promo code CHGO at pinsandaces.com.
Cool comment from Mike in the chat real quick. It says his first live hockey game ever was watching Taves play at North Dakota, and he signed a puck for him and has been a fan ever since then. That's cool. Very, very cool. Nice. Hey, we want to remind you, though, that DraftKings Sportsbook is the official betting partner of CHGO and All City. They've got those great NBA no-sweat same-game parlays. That's the same-game parlays. That's where I love it.
I like it.
I've got $3 left in my account, so I had
make it count.
Last night, all I needed was a Seth Jones goal. I had Jones anytime scorer, Reichel anytime scorer, and plus 6.5. So if Jones had scored, the score would have been 4-3. I had Reichel, and I would have had Jones, and it was a plus 2,200 bet. I would have won a significant amount of money with a very little wager. That's what makes the same game parlays fun.
I split my bets last night. I did a same game. Because there was like a boost. There was some sort of NHL boost pack thing. It was like you could do live bets for 25%.
Oh, cool.
Whatever. But I hit the under. What was it? It was
6.5.
4-2.
It was
right?
4-2.
So
yep.
Under 6.5, and Vancouver to win. You got the 25% boost. So I hit that one. However, I saw plus money on under 5.5, and I bet that straight, and I was like, oh, this is going fine. I actually turned the game on. It's 3-1 with 2 minutes left. But then I looked, and the Hawks' net is empty, and I'm like, oh, no. Yeah. And I just sat there and watched.
And then they went and scored another.
I mean, luckily I hit the other one. So
yeah.
Right. And, I shouldn't be too mad because on Saturday, was it Saturday they played the Wild?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had the Wild minus 1.5 puck line. That game was tied until
the last minute.
Yeah. So hit that one. So I should probably be happy with my DraftKings.
You gotta sweat it out sometimes.
Let's go DraftKings.
That's fun. I love it. And the great thing about those same game parlays is it's only a couple bucks with a big payout. Makes it so much fun to participate. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Sign up with the code CHGO. New customers can get can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details. While you're looking at the show notes, make sure you smash that like button for us too. We would greatly, greatly appreciate that. All right, we got a few minutes left. Why don't we do some rapid fire questions here, Lawrence? What do we got?
Some randoms.
Okie dokie. Let's start with, let's see. So Narfin, I believe, asked the Kane question. He says, if you have time to get my question, take a stab at it, but where do you think Kane will actually end up next season? I feel like it'll be tough for the Rangers to sign him unless he signs for a 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I've been thinking about that a lot because he's not going to make 10.5, but he's going to make
9.
Yeah, I mean, what's the least you think he would sign for? Like, if he's like, this is an ideal situation for me, I'll play for 8?
Maybe 8. Yeah.
There's not a lot of contenders that can take on that money.
I know we joke, but Buffalo? Like, they're on that
That's a team on the verge.
They're on that cusp, and I feel like they've managed without looking at it offhand, I feel like they've managed their cap pretty well, and they have their young guys locked in now. So it seems like that actually may be, an option for him. Right
now, the Sabres have $17 million in cap space. That's a lot.
My point.
Jeff Skinner makes $9 million until 2026-27. Alex Tuck, 4.75 until 2025-26. That's a nice contract there. Tage Thompson, his new deal kicks in next year, as does Dylan Cousins. Both of those guys making roughly $7.1 million. So that's going to change. Right now, those guys make like $2.5 million combined. Yeah. So go from 2.5 to $14 million. So that's going to affect things. Defense, not a ton of guys locked up long term. Dahlin makes $6 million through next season. He's going to need a new deal, and it's going to be higher than 6.
Yep.
Jokiharju, $2.5 million. Won't be a huge raise. These are all after next year. Matthias Samuelson's the only guy they have locked up long term at 4.285 until 2029-30.
That was such a weird contract.
Yeah.
they signed like a 7-year extension after like 20 games.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, you're good.
And just looking through their system, Matthew Savoy will probably be NHL ready. Probably not next year, maybe the year after.
Maybe.
So he'll be on his rookie deal. It's doable.
Yeah.
After all the jokes we've made for years and years and years, it might actually be Buffalo.
Because, they've finally kind of turned it around.
Yeah.
It was no longer like, Buffalo has no idea what they're doing.
It times out nicely.
Yeah. So, hey, it actually might be an option.
Yep. Good question.
All right, Surf and Dub. A question for anyone who can answer. Can the Hawks exploit the same situation that the Kraken used for Wright when he was able to play in the AHL for a little while? This is in regards to Korchinski.
That was if I remember correctly, that was some sort of conditioning stint,
right?
That they put him on, and those are, I think it's either the maximum length can be like 2 weeks or like 4 games or something like that. It's not something you normally do for junior players, and I don't think you would be doing a disservice to Korchinski sticking him in the AHL for 4 games or a week and a half or whatever when he could just play 4 NHL games and then go back to junior.
Right. So here from Daily Faceoff, CHL-aligned players can only play in the AHL if they were with an NHL team and sent down on a conditioning stint. That requires a player to sit out 5 consecutive NHL games, which allowed Shane Wright to be sent down. So there you go. That's the story there.
So Korchinski would have to basically start the season here, play a few games, sit, then go to the AHL, and then go back to junior. It's convoluted. What Seattle did with Shane Wright was weird. So dumb. It felt so stupid what they were doing. So I wouldn't want Korchinski to do the same thing.
Especially like Seattle, by the way, is maybe they're a little better than they expected this year.
Yeah.
So that changed things. I think next year the Hawks are still going to be one of the lesser teams in the league. So like you said, just play him in the NHL. If you think he's NHL ready, which,
yeah,
we'll see. There's no need to send him to Rockford.
Yeah,
yeah. Have him play here. Have him play in junior.
Yeah, yeah. Have him play here for a few games. If he's that lights out, fine, go for it. But if he's not, there's no problem in him going back to juniors for one more year. He's still very young. He's still 18 now. Like he'll turn 19 over the summer. Let him play in junior. Let him dominate the WHL for another season. Play for Team Canada again. Be a much bigger contributor at the World Juniors again. I have no problems with that. No need to rush him.
All right, let's do two more before we wrap up.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to skip this one. We're going to go with here, we'll start with Narfin.
Yep.
Narfin asks, what artist or music do you listen to as a guilty pleasure?
Go ahead.
Creed.
Oh, no.
Listen, they are the butt of many jokes. They are the Jake butt of many jokes. But, over the years, hearing some of their songs just on the radio randomly, I'm just like, you know what? This goes for me.
That's cool.
So,
I have abandoned the concept of guilty pleasures. Like what you like. The world is on fire. Do not apologize for what you like. But if I'm answering the question for people, there are two. One of my favorite bands of all time is Extreme, the More Than Words guys.
Yeah, the More Than Words.
They're one of my all-time favorite bands. I'm so excited they have a new album coming out this year. The new song is awesome. One of the best guitar solos you'll ever hear. It's called Rise. Check it out. That's one of my favorite bands ever. And if I was to hide a band from people, because I'm openly a fan of Extreme, everybody knows it. I do enjoy Coldplay.
Coldplay's good.
Coldplay's not so bad.
Yeah.
They've got some good songs.
Yeah. So, but I did hear Chris Martin on the Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend podcast.
I haven't listened to that yet.
Sounds like a guy who's never really had any problems in his life. He's like, I think everyone is just given the life they're supposed to have, and if you're a rock star, you are destined to be a rock star. And I'm like, well, what about someone who's mentally ill or homeless? Was that like just their destination? Like, there's no way they could have.
Sounds like a guy a little full of himself.
That kind of bothered me a little bit.
Chris Martin, name your kid Apple. I mean, obviously, you guys know. Greg would say Train would be my guilty pleasure, but Train's a good band, and sure. I also am a Swiftie these days. So Taylor Swift rules.
That should be no one's guilty pleasure. She's
awesome,
immensely talented.
Her last few albums are fantastic.
And on the pop thing, I have realized how much I enjoy Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
Every time I hear like a pop song, I'm like, this song is great. I Shazam it, Dua Lipa, every time. And they've got that. They play it during Hawks games all the time. It's like the mashup with her and Elton John. It's called Cold Cold Heart.
Yes.
It's Dua Lipa and Elton John. It is fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's like a sample of Sacrifice, Rocket Man, and there's one more Elton John song.
Benny and the Jets?
No, it's not. It's not like one of the. It's not like a primary famous, super famous Elton John song, but it's wonderful. So yeah, Dua Lipa, not a guilty pleasure. I enjoy Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
Remember when Dua Lipa and St. Vincent performed together?
St. Vincent. Now she's a rock star. Yeah, that was good. Is that on the Grammys? Yeah.
I needed a moment.
That was good.
I looked at my wife and I'm like, I'm very sorry, but I'm going to need a moment.
I love St. Vincent. She is a guitar rocker.
Yes.
Okay, let's end it with no rage, just roids. AMA, how far are you willing to drive just to eat fast food?
Oof. The distance has changed over time for me. I used to be very into like, maybe it was just my college brain, and I was just like, well, it's either this or drink. So let's go get some food. I would take road trips for a specific meal at times, like hour, 2 hours sometimes. Now it's just like for fast food, if it's on the way, great. Like if I'm going from point A to point B and it's a point and a half, like that's fine. I usually don't go out of my way anymore.
Yeah,
it's just,
I would say for a special place, I'll go like a half hour or so. But I will say, I spent my dad, when I was in kindergarten, got transferred to Virginia. So I was there. I was in Roanoke, Virginia, home of Eric Weinrich, for kindergarten and first grade. And there, my mom and we all loved Chick-fil-A. Like it was like our favorite place there. And then when we moved, Chick-fil-A has only been in Chicagoland for what, like 10 years maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
yeah.
So before that, me and my wife went to Racine, Wisconsin to pick up Chick-fil-A to bring to my mom for her birthday.
That's cool.
So that was the farthest we've gone.
That's a distance, yeah.
But it was like just we surprised her. She had not had it in probably 15 years. I was like, oh my god,
that's fun.
And the manager at Chick-fil-A like told us, like, just throw them in the oven. This is how you do it, and they're going to turn out just like they are here. And he was right. It was like eating in a restaurant. It was great.
Nice.
So yeah, what Racine is. You would know better than I would.
I mean, it's just over the border, not too far.
Yeah, not too bad, right?
From you?
Yeah.
Well,
I was in Oakland at the time.
Oakland. Well, that's still a distance.
A little further
Yeah,
north.
that's probably almost 2 hours.
Yeah, about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like for me, like when I saw this question, I was thinking of like, oh, it's like some hole in the wall place that like there's only one of, as opposed to like a Taco Bell. So like in my head, I was thinking of like, I definitely have driven random amounts of time to like go to some. Oh, you got to go try that place. Get the hot dog there,
Right.
Paradise Pup or Dog.
Usually I'll do that if I'm in the neighborhood. I'll try to like, I'm around that place. Let's try it. But yeah.
Like I've definitely gone to Superdog, and that's not close at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but worth the trip.
Yeah,
100%,
definitely.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of years ago, my wife and I did a random weekend trip. We were like, let's just, flight prices were really low for some reason. I can't remember, but we went to Los Angeles for basically like a day and a half, and we were just like, oh, let's go. And we made a trip to be like, we have to get in and out, and we weren't close to one, but we were like, let's go, and we just navigated for like 40 minutes just to get to in and out, and then we waited 40 minutes for it, and it was good. It was good.
Oh, loving it. I'll be eating in and out at some point this week as I am taking a flight to Arizona.
Nice.
There you go.
Morning.
Enjoy. Where are you going?
Into the valley, Scottsdale, sort of the northeast corner of Scottsdale.
My favorite restaurant in the world is in Phoenix. Dick's Hideaway.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Pizzeria Bianca.
It is like I would say like Southwestern food.
Okay.
It is a hole in the wall, literally a hidden restaurant.
It's a hideaway.
You tell your Uber driver you want to go to Dick's Hideaway and they've never heard of it. I'm going to name drop. We had dinner with Len Casper there at spring training one year. This is, if I was to choose my last meal, it would be from Dick's Hideaway.
Wow.
Great cocktails. The food is amazing. If you have time to go, Lawrence, you are my food Sherpa.
Yeah.
You will love this place. It is like high-end Southwestern food with great cocktails. It's amazing. It is, and it's a tiny little place. You might want to get a reservation, but holy cow, Dick's Hideaway is.
Looking it up right now. It's right down the middle there off 51. Okay.
Yep. It's incredible. I promise you will not be disappointed.
Interesting. That's right near Sunny Slope, which is a neighborhood. They have a really good barbecue place up there. Little Miss Barbecue is fantastic. And then there was this Mexican place that I've been to a couple times that was also like an old school Mexican
So
place.
this is like higher end.
Okay.
You know, if it's you and someone else, you're probably walking out like 120 or so.
Okay.
But worth every penny. Get the prickly pear margarita. Holy God.
That sounds good.
Sounds delicious.
It's amazing. So I told my wife she is anti-Arizona because her family would vacation there like in August.
Oh.
So it was miserable. I hated it. We just stayed inside all day. I'm like, I will literally fly to Phoenix to try to have Dick's Hideaway and fly home.
Okay.
That's how good it is.
Okay.
So
it's on
if
my
money
list.
if money were no object.
Money's never an object. My parents can help me out maybe,
Sure. That'd be nice. All right, let's wrap things up. That was fun. I enjoyed that. We are back tomorrow night post game, and remember Wednesday we've got Korchinski and Doc and Nolan Allen all joining the show at 3 p.m. The show begins at 2:30. Those guys will jump on from Seattle at 3 o'clock. It's going to be a great time on Wednesday, but we'll talk to you post game tomorrow night. Hawks and Stars on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.